Right, I'm back. Back on the sexism. Men call each other bitch all the time. We try to remember not to just blurt it out at women, or at a woman, unless she's one for blurting it out herself, or she's in some way indicating she's okay with the word bitch. But for the most part, it's case by case. Most women are emotionally intelligent enough to know that when men call each other bitches, even in the vicinity of a woman, they're not being sexist. Because when they say bitch, they don't mean woman. You needn't be a woman, or indeed a dog, to be a bitch. Once again, bitch used to mean one thing, then another thing, then another thing, and now it just means subordinate. Which is why women don't like being called it, except during sex. The fact that many, shall we say, retarded douches still call women bitches, all women bitches, is no more relevant than the fact that some people still believe in hell. There's a clear, established gap between its use in modern parlance and its use in, let's admit it, antiquity, and regions of arrested cultural development. And increasingly, it seems, we call all sorts of things gay. Like if a pen's not working, we go, oh, this pen's being gay. Again, we tried to remember not to just blurt it out at gay people, but already you've noticed the difference. Women don't call themselves bitches, as a rule, but gay people call themselves gay, as a, rule. And now, teenagers everywhere are calling everything under the sun gay, and there's nothing the gay community can do about it, because the gay community came up with the word gay, with the signifier gay. It was their idea to start officially frolicking with the definition of gay. And it went and backfired somewhat, which wasn't unlikely. After all, gay previously meant a particular kind of happy disposition. Not just happy, but fruity, dancey, footloose, and fancy-free. All traits considered primitively undesirable in an alpha male. Yet again, the word gay has done a loop over time and landed on a definition closer to the original one than the adopted experimental middle one. But in this case, it's the engineers of it who fall prey, so they don't have a leg to stand on. They often say you shouldn't call things gay. That's offensive. You don't know what we mean by gay. We could just mean fruity and dancey and unbearable. 9 times out of 10, that is indeed all we mean. Homosexuality technically never comes into it. Neither do effeminate characteristics. It's just fruity, dancey unbearableness. The other 1 out of 10, unfortunately, are indeed homophobic. They haven't realised they're gay yet. But we don't let those people make our infrastructural decisions, unless we are Republicans. The gay community is generally quite good at assimilating these derogatory words. They loved Queen. They took that one right on board. Puffed over, flapped it up. It's a fabulous word. Friend of Dorothy. Guilty. Even queer. They were a bit queer on queer for a while, but they came around to it at the end. But of course, there's one word, and only one, as far as I can tell, that they just can't countenance in any context. In American English-speaking countries, that is. In Britain, we have a foodstuff called faggots. They're basically lumps of mushed-up meat and suet, I think. They kind of look like burgers that have been leavened like bread. It's bizarre. And they're called faggots. Because faggot means bundle. A bundle of twigs. A bundle of, in this case, pork. And you can't stop people printing the word faggot in bright, striking letters all over the faggot section of the supermarket. Why? Because in Britain, faggot has always meant bundle. In Britain, children learn what a pork faggot is long before they even care about gay sex. So, if I call you a faggot, who are you to say I'm not simply calling you a leavened pork burger? And, sir, a third party can only find that offensive if said third party happens to be a leavened pork burger. And this is where I come back to the main point. A third party. To a third party, a word can only be offensive to people who are that thing. The thing intended by the speaker. So, if Party 1 calls Party 2 a cunt, a third party can only be offended if he or she is a cunt. What is a cunt? Either a vagina, they're unlikely to be a vagina since it's an object, or a cunt is a non-specifically disagreeable person. The third party is unlikely to be a non-specifically... It's unlikely to admit to being a non-specifically disagreeable person. Hence, cunt is only ever legitimately offensive to the party at whom it is directed. And only because it's impersonally abrasive. And that, not to put too fine a point on it, is the point of it. Now, if Party 1 calls Party 2 a fag, a third party can only be offended if he or she is a fag. What is a fag? Either a homosexual, or a leavened pork burger, or a cigarette, or an old person or a woman, or all the other extinct definitions of that word, or a non-specifically disagreeable person. Never mind your right not to be offended, you aren't even in any position to nominate yourself to take offence if you haven't determined which of these is the intended meaning. If you're able to decipher that in this case it means homosexual, it's probably because of the anti-gay rhetoric in which it fucking appeared. There's your problem. Oh, you called me a faggot. Oh, how about he hates gay people? You want to start with that? Then tell me about the sentences he formed, and then maybe as a tertiary footnote, tell me about some of the specific nouns he used. The slightest insight will tell you that, again, 9 out of 10 people, when they say faggot, are using the final definition I mentioned. A non-specifically disagreeable person of no necessary sexual persuasion. The fact that the pool of things this word has at some point described includes one of your attributes does not give you authority over that word. Of course, I say the gay community is good. By the way, I say the gay community because the plural gays, or indeed gay as a noun, hasn't quite landed on the rosy side of the mother tongue yet. I say the gay community is good at assimilating words, despite having interrupted myself with my own fucking disproof, and then interrupting my interruption with a second... I say the gay community is good at assimilating words. Having said that, eventually, that is more than can be said for the twink community. Me neither. I didn't know the word twink existed until the twink community decided they didn't like it. A twink, for those of you in the dark, is a young, hairless, diminutive, preferably gay, boy. And a row like this is bound to happen if you keep coming up with names for every last category of splinter groups you can think of. You guys are bears. Wicked. Bears rock. They're vicious, merciless killing machines, but I can see you coming from a good place. You guys are otters. Otters? Okay, I like otters. Who doesn't like an otter? Still a lot less morally complex than a human, but whatever. And you guys are twinks. Excuse me? Doesn't that mean tiny penis? I'm pretty sure that means tiny penis. So, when gay people say you shouldn't call things gay, that's offensive, it's a little difficult to take them seriously given how much of this very shit goes on within their own ranks. And when you look closely, you find this is the case in every minority. It's practically fractal. This seems to have been mainly about gender issues, but that's a big part of it. But since I've talked about gay, it only makes nominative continuity for me to talk about the other 3 letters in LGBT. I don't know how many more letters we're going to add to that before it includes everyone over the age of 3. First it was the gay community, and then the lesbians went, we're not gay! We're not fucking fruity and dancing, we're fucking stern, bitch! We're no nonsense! We want to be named after a Greek island! Alright, fine. Gay and lesbian community. Lesbian and gay community! Okay, lesbian and gay community. And the bisexuals piped up. I'll fuck anyone, can I join in? What? No! You're not restricted. You're as comfortable at a Chippendale show as you are in a brothel. I may like fucking my opposite sex, but what if I want to marry someone my same sex? Don't I face the same legal restrictions as you? God damn it, alright, get in. But that's everyone now. No one else can come in. Enter transsexual. I just had my dick chopped off and a nectar jar full of estrogen. Can I join your club? What? No! If we let you in, then we've left a loophole for literally anyone to join in. Hack it off, necks and drugs. Here's your membership card and enjoy the free hat. No! But I'm clearly gay. I mean, that's why most of us have this operation, because we're just gay and we won't admit it. Isn't it sort of a dead giveaway joining the LGBT group? And sort of everyone will know that all you are is a gay person with a massive overcompensation disorder. That would be the case if this were just a club for gays, but it's pretty clear it's become a club for semi-unusual fetishes. Oh, you got me there, getting... Good! Right! No one's allowed to say tranny anymore! Yeah, the word tranny is on trial. Weird one, right? Trans is a prefix meaning travel, to traverse, to move through or across, to basically change from one state to another. Which is why I've never liked the term transvestite, because it implies someone who has changed from one wardrobe choice to another, which isn't the case. These are simply people who have a certain taste in clothes, usually a much broader taste in clothes than the average person. A more correct term would be epivestite, or panvestite. There's literally nothing you wouldn't hang over your body. But transsexual is different, because there's just no question a change has taken place there. A change of sexual organs and sexual hormones. Transsexual is exactly the right word, just like grandma is the correct word for one's greater mother. So why? When in the whole history of the English language, no grandmother has ever complained about the contraction granny, transsexuals can find cause to be offended by exactly the same contraction. Tranny. The ironic thing is that transvestites, people who we call transvestites, persons of broad or specialised wardrobe tastes, decided their best course of action was to adopt the misnomer transvestite, much like the gay community adopted the word gay. And so it was they became the transvestites, despite it being the wrong word. And they never complained about it until the subjective property vestite was contracted to the suffix, wait for it, ni. That's what offends the broad wardrobe taste community, the phoneme known as ni. A granny, when she hears the phoneme ni, finds it endearing. You know why? Because grannies like being endeared. They seek endearment. Trannies could just as easily find tranny endearing, but they don't. They find it divisive and offensive. I wonder why. I should point out that I have no problem with persons of broad wardrobe taste. If anything, I'm envious. I'm large and flabby and hairy. If I could be wafy and sylph-like for a day, I'd probably put on all kinds of shit. But as I am, I find it much more poetically lucrative to live and deal with the eccentric self-hatred of the sack of crap body I have, rather than try and dress it up like a handbag of rainbows, never mind take a surgical instrument to the patchwork. I don't have a problem with any of the minorities I've talked about. In fact, I'm not even talking about any minority, gender-based or race-based. I'm talking about the minorities within those minorities who think they should own a word because they're a minority, and about the outsiders who claim to speak on their behalf. You people don't understand what words are. They are uncontrollable. Words are like memes. Words are memes, and they're like genes. They just propagate. However much their human hosts care deeply about these issues, genes and memes don't give 1.618 of a fuck. All we can do is encourage them to evolve, perhaps into something benign. If you don't let these words evolve into something positive, then you're keeping them frozen in their pejorative state, preserving their correlation with prejudice. Surely that's the exact opposite of what you're trying to do. Surely. Words evolve like creatures, inexorably and with an intuition you couldn't possibly predict. Only words do it much quicker than creatures. If you try to ban a word, you'll be like those clever folks who tried to wipe out all the mosquitoes using DDT, only to leave behind a strain of eugenic Nazi super mosquitoes who were immune to DDT. If you tell people not to use a word, they will go mental with that word, even if it's only in defense of their freedom of speech. That's why we have swear words. That's the only reason we have swear words, because you keep telling us not to say them. A lot of people yield to the maxim that if the community in question say they don't like the word, you shouldn't say it, because after all, they're a community and you're just an individual. If the inhabitants of a remote valley hamlet want to amputate the lips of a local Tourette sufferer, do they get to do it just because they all have hypervigilant disorder? And if so, if you can form a community that has the right to censor an individual under the banner of an abstract characteristic you all have in common, if you can hack your dick off and join a community, then by thunder, you can hack off your abstract inhibitions and join my comrades and me in the freedom of expression community. Are we an oppressed minority? Globally, you bet your bottom arse we are. But we're fucking strong, my friends. And if we are to play some seedy, detestable fucking card game with our very words, very well. Since we're also a group with a characteristic in common, here are some of the words that we, in the freedom of expression community can say, but you outside it cannot. North. Swim. Space. Comfort. Fucking law. In fact, any word that is meaningless without the concept of free expression is offensive to me when used by people who don't uphold said concept. This includes all words. In other words, if you believe what you say when you say I cannot say when I say... I'm going to try that again, because this is important. In other words, if you believe what you say when you say I cannot say what I say, shut up and never speak again. Oh, the title. This is all part of a bigger truth. Not only is it important that we have the right to insult each other, it's actually good for us that we exercise our right to insult each other. That is, the right to control what we say, not the right to control what another person hears. Private, no. Public, yes. In public, we need tools like sarcasm and raised voices and derogatory words because some people are wrong. Some people are really wrong and really stupid and really influential. And without the freedom to insult, we would not be optimizing our ability to get through to such people. Degrees of poetic license have to be accommodated on a case-by-case basis. Just like a crime of passion is less heinous than a premeditated one, a word said rhetorically in the heat of an argument is not as bad as a word fucking spray-painted across your house. I've gone off the deep end now, but I'm going to carry on. The disparity with the human condition is we have progress we mean to make. On one hand, logical, moral improvements, which we'll call Ambrosia, for reasons that will become clear in the next sentence. And we also have bile we need to release. Primal screams, irrational fears, hormonal demons from a billion generations of evolutionary struggle. Now, you can't block off the Ambrosia, and why would you? But you can't block off the bile either. They're both coming out, whether you like it or not. And the only apparatus you have to extract them is a hose and a sprinkler. Bear with me. The trick is to release the Ambrosia through the hose and the bile through the sprinkler. Now, that sounds counterintuitive, but it's not. The best way to get along with people is by randomly insulting them for no reason. Because otherwise, you'll end up finding a reason. You need the release, you don't need the reason. If you don't run bile through the sprinkler, then it's going to come out through the hose, and it's going to be pointed at something. It'll have a reason. This is why people who find themselves obliged to be polite and courteous to each other tend to be the ones who end up doing the loudest and most bickering. Bickering is hose bile. Bitching is hose bile. Grumpiness is sprinkler bile. Grumpy people are awesome and funny. Bickering bitches are shit and suicide-inducing. There's nothing more horrifying and depressing than someone who spreads their good nature thinly around their place of work while vomiting their bad nature directly and deliberately into the faces of their friends and families. No, you need to let the bile flow freely. Call people a cunt for no reason. Let bile be your breath. However bad your breath is, no one ever takes it personally. As for your Ambrosia, save it. Direct it somewhere. Like your bile, it has little effect in small doses, but remarkable properties when concentrated. Piss on a dying rose, why not? See, what I like to do is whip up a frothy mixture of Ambrosia and bile and then baby bird it into your drink. That works too. Goodbye. And do, if you can, try and fuck off.